The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, hello and welcome to the new channel. Born out of passion, we are a community that helps you be the new you. I'm Dr. Mras, live streaming from the beautiful mountains of Colorado, USA. You're watching Mental Shift. Hello, and to the United States and to the Philippines, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Tonight, my guest is a very dear friend of mine and now a business partner. He is a Renaissance man, a humanitarian, and an accomplished serial entrepreneur. Established his successes with his company called the Umbrella Syndicate, Perfect Publishing, and Absolute Entertainment. He's a social proof celebrity, event photographer, international keynotes speaker, a published author of, oh goodness, I think he's like 28 books or more at this point. And he also has a radio show on Voice America called Amplify with Ken Rochon. And he is honored as America's most influential business connector and entrepreneur of the year. Please welcome my new business partner and my friend and foe, because we do a lot together. Please welcome Ken, otherwise known as Dr. Smiley Rochon.
Well, hello, Dr. Mras.
Hello, the reason I am called Dr. Mras.
Boy, that bio is really old. I gotta find out who's circulating that. Let me tell you three things just so that they're up to date. So number one, Absolute Entertainment is not exactly a focus, but I do love that company. It got me where I am today. I have the love of events. But Amplifluence, I'll tell you, that's a company I'm really excited about being a part owner of. And then
You're with me now with Amplify.
I know. And then 40 books, and I think that's the big two. Those are the big two.
Okay. Well, I pulled up Ken Rochon. When you Google Ken Rochon, this is the one that pops up.
We have to correct it. I mean, I have to correct it.
Yes, you have to correct it. But no, you do so much, and you really are a celebrity photographer, but we're moving you more into the whole publishing world, because that's really what we do together. We do publishing, we do the amplifying of authors and coaches and, well, basically the influencers of wherever you are. And one day we will be in the Philippines, because I'm sure TNC will have some sort of event and we will come out there together. How about that? Magpatuloy sa ping.
This is the event we're going to have. A Keep Smiling mixer, right?
Oh, that would be lovely.
Yes. Oh, and then I'm wearing this because you're teaching me to take a quantum leap from photography into publishing. And although they both start with a P, they sound a little bit different. What a revelation.
Yeah. Well, you are still you're still the co-founder of the Keep Smiling movement. Matter of fact, you were with Barry Shore all day today, right? So there's a lot in there that's right. It's just two things we need to pull out of there.
Yes, I think this is a new record for me. I've done 5 shows in less than 24 hours.
Good
Oh,
job.
and you were on the show yesterday for the same reason I think I'm on the show today, was to introduce the new year with a new message and a vision of what it's going to look like for our audiences. So that's really cool.
Yes. So you're here on Mental Shift. And so what we talk about on Mental Shift, and you get to take the spotlight, you're right there and big,
See it.
is what was your mental shift to move you from whatever you were doing before, like with absolute entertainment, to what you're doing today? What was your shift? What happened to you?
I think the quote by Gandhi, "Be the change you want to see in the world," was one of the shifts. And then Bob Berg's message, "The Go-Giver," those two things together caused me to not allow myself to be thinking of myself at a level that I would say is probably, believe it or not, 1 or 2% of what I am today. And what I'm finding right now is I'm still like possibly 5 or 10% of what I'm going to be, in a year or two from now. It just keeps blowing me away about how much more we can stretch ourselves, that God has a very big plan for us, and we just don't know how powerful we can be in the world. And you look at someone like a Gandhi, and you see a person that admitted he's only a man. He never said, "Look at me with big ego. Look what I've done to change the world." He deemed himself just a man. Just anyone could do it.
Well, if he deemed himself anything other than a man, he wouldn't be Gandhi.
That's right. That's right.
So I wanted you to come on the show because one, we have a lot that we've done. I mean, you headed up my 21-day book tour on the whole East Coast, and you are the reason why my book Hold My Crown blew up so well. And you're doing my next book, Unapologetic, an entrepreneur's journey from pain to pride. And so if you're wondering who's been helping me, who's been behind me and pushing me along, it's this man right there, Dr. Smiley, because he's the one who also, when he asked me, "What's your big, hairy dream? What do you want?" I said, "Honestly, it's something I probably will never get." And he said, "What's that?" I want my doctorate. And he introduced me to the Omps, Dr. Omps and Dr. Omps.
Yes, one's a Crawford Arms.
Yes, Crawford Omps. Well, in the Omps, but
Yes.
from the International University of Entrepreneurology. And it's right up my alley, right? The study of entrepreneurship. And that's what you have your doctorate in too. So Ken is the reason why I got my doctorate, because he introduced me to the people who would get me in there. And
Ironically, right here in Vegas.
yes, right here in Vegas. That's true. I was there with you in Vegas when you introduced me. But see, that's the whole thing, is you never know what you do to help someone else move forward. And so Ken and I, we work together in something we call Amplifluence. And if you look at the screen, if you're watching, there's a little symbol down on the bottom by Ken, I believe, that changes all the different logos. Amplifluence is one of them. And yes, there it is, Amplifluence. It's one of our sponsors. And that is me and Ken.
There you go.
And we have a podcast called Amplifluence that goes out every Wednesday. So Ken, you had a mental shift, multiple actually. The last time you were on, we talked about your shift when you took care of your mother.
Mhm.
Do you want to update people on that for the ones who didn't see the show? The ones who did not see, though, I think the show hit 3,000 or so.
Okay. Well, the mental shift was that I really thought life was what anyone would think it is, the way it is every day, just keep living it. And then I found out my mom was diagnosed with dementia and eventually Alzheimer's, and she needed to be cared for. And my dad elected to take a sabbatical and take care of her. And I said, "Dad, I'll join you in this." And didn't know it was going to be 3 years, but it awakened me of I wasn't living a purpose-driven life, and that I needed to shift into what I am here for. And it really was a very big conversation, a very long prayer. And I never would have guessed it would take 7 years, as I shared it with Barry on his show today, 7 years to have someone hand me a card. And it was a Keep Smiling card, but that was the card that most resonated with me about who my mom was. She was an extremely positive person, and a shift that she made for me when I was only 6 or 7 or 8, it was somewhere around there, where I just kept moving around from place to place and sabotaging friendships so I wouldn't have to say goodbye. She said, "Ken, what you're doing is you're looking for something wrong with people so you can actually get out of a relationship. Why don't you look for what's good in people and you'll find it? And that was a big mental shift for me. And that mental shift is what probably is why I allow myself to be referred to as Dr. Smiley, because I smile when I meet people. I see something great about them, not just good, something great about them, and it just makes me happy. And you've seen when I'm on the street with people, strangers, and I just fall in love with their spirit. And it's proven every single time I've given a card to somebody, when they thank me and they even show off the card, that they're alive and that they just want to connect with somebody that believes in them. And this is something that is the biggest mental shift I think I could possibly share on the show, is when you have someone that believes in you, you will step into a power just to prove that they're right. And that's why it's so important that when you believe in somebody, you're probably giving them the biggest gift they could have, because if no one else does believe in them, they will sabotage their existence. And I've had people I've hired that said they never were believed in, and they gave me so much of who they were. I felt like, wow, what a reward for just believing in somebody. And so that is the biggest gift that I think you've given me and so many others, is that you believed in them and they rise. And why wouldn't you? You want to prove someone right when they believe in you, not prove them wrong.
I love it. So you talk about you're a quote man, but one of the quotes that you've said to me, and I quoted you in my most recent book, it's about partnerships. Can you give us that?
Yes, I'll preface it though, why the definition had to happen, if that's okay.
Please.
There's so many partnerships I've had that didn't work. And I'm just a person that has a query about why things work and why they don't work. And I noticed that the partnerships that didn't work were with people that typically listened, but didn't engage in a conversation of collaboration. And they didn't necessarily look me in the eyes, or they didn't have gratitude in their heart. And it's not that they were bad people, they just were not good partners. And so I went over every single aspect of whenever I had a bad partnership, and there were signals every single time. There was not one time that I had a bad partnership or someone that took advantage of. And by the way, when you have a partnership, someone's always going to work harder, and someone's always going to be better at certain things. And so back to my mom's quote of look for the good. If you can find something good in someone else that is not something that you care to do, you probably are starting to have a great conversation for partnership. But the definition is that, and I call it the definition, the perfect definition of a perfect partnership, is that it's between two or more people, written or verbal. It doesn't matter, because I would like to divert actually for a second.
Okay.
When you sign your name on an agreement and someone says, I need you to sign on the agreement, that your word being signed is as good as the pen. If you don't have a word, it doesn't matter what your pen is going to do for you. So I always tell people, if I trust you, you don't have to sign anything. Now, obviously in this day and age, you do need to have some documentation. So I'm not suggesting that you don't have that, but the perfect partnership is between two or more people, written or verbal, where two or more people compete to unconditionally give more than the other. And it's pretty succinct that if you did that, if your partner is sick or they just can't be there, that's your chance to shine. And I said something to Barry today on our show, and I'll say it on this show, which is why I think our partnership works so well, is if you want a great partnership, you have to be a great partner. If you want a great friendship, you have to be a great friend. And so I think that that's been something that we've practiced, and that's why the longevity is a reality. It's a result that we get to see every day.
I love it. Well, and my thing is, I met you, and before I even knew what your name was, you were believing in me. And so I thought he was a little crazy, because I'm like, who is this person? And why does he keep telling me I'm
I
awesome
am.
and you're going to win? I know you're crazy, but you're a good crazy. And I didn't know who you were, but you kept telling me you're amazing. You're really good. And I thought you were just fluffing me for some reason. I didn't know what was going on. And we ended up being friends. Why? Because the universe threw us together. Every morning I wake up, I'd go work out. I'd come back into the house, because we were at a VIP house at the Ultimate Speaker Competition in Orlando. And I'd come back in for my workout, and you would be sitting at the kitchen counter working on whatever you were working on.
Pictures.
And and I would make my coffee and my little protein shake, and I'd go up to my room to get ready. And every morning I was seeing him, and then I never really talked to him. And then that last day we were heading out on in a limo, and I kind of I ran out. They ran out of space in the front part of the limo, so I sat in the back next to you, and that's how we started really talking. It was like, "Who are you?" And yeah, so the universe forced us together.
It did.
Hmm.
I mean, that is a very good point. Is I didn't get in the car saying she's going to sit next to me, and you didn't get in the car with the last seat available was the one next to me. It was just kind of wacky.
Yeah, because I didn't realize there was another door that everyone was going through.
Well, not only that, Michelle, because I was a photographer, I elected because I put all my camera equipment away that I could get in the car. And Christoph said, "Where's your camera equipment?" I said, "I put it away." And had I not done that, I probably would have been sitting somewhere else too.
Yeah, I just thought it was very unique on how it all came together, and then how we actually got together was you were taking pictures, and I said something about I had a book that I wanted to publish, and you said, "I'm a publisher," and I went, "You are?" Yes. Do you not see all the books on my table? I remember you saying that. Do you not see all the books? I'm like, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of books on your table. And so basically, I didn't know he was a publisher. I was looking for a publisher. And the man who was taking pictures of me for the past 3 days was the publisher I needed. And you were the idea behind, you helped me coagulate, hold my crown, and make it as big and wonderful as it is. You're the one who helped me. Well, that's when we met Janelle Harris, who got us on the Jumbotron. I mean, everything happened very timely at that one event in Orlando. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to compete. You were there taking pictures. You happened to have your books. I mean, it was just amazing. And I don't doubt the universe.
Well, there's a point that I don't know if this is appropriate or how we're going to dig into this, but it's interesting that because I hold a camera, that I am deemed a photographer, and it's something to be aware of in life. Like, you want to identify and you want to know the answer of who someone is, and I think that's another thing that my mom taught me indirectly through the book I wrote, Perfect Networker, Becoming the Perfect Networker. It says succeeding one connection at a time, meaning you don't know when you meet somebody. They could be anybody, and they could actually completely change your life and create the most abundance you've ever seen. And you are calling them a carpenter, you're calling them whatever. And, Ann Ludington is someone that I bring up in this case, or Robert Peterson. They're allowing me to have them accused, if you will, of being photographers, yet they're so talented.
Much more. Yeah, there's so much more than photography.
And so you're giving me the opportunity to have that first perception that I hold a book and someone says, "Oh, he's an author," or I have a lot of books in a banner and they go, "Oh, he's a publisher." And I'll tell you what, the difference in the conversations is like night and day. And it's a little scary that can change that much just by dropping a camera. Because I'll tell you, when I'm wearing a camera, it's so funny how many people look at my camera and they go, "Oh, you're the photographer," like that, like they figured out a mystery. And I'm thinking, what gave away the clue?
And see, with me, I've always been told, don't ever look at the photographer. You just keep doing what you do. I'm on stage. I'm a speaker. Don't look at the photographer. Just keep going. They've got you. Just don't pay attention. Just let them get you. And so, oh, you're the photographer. Well, so it's not an insult. We're told not to look at your camera while we're on stage.
Well, you had to look at some point because I just kept going.
I know, a lot of flashing.
Like 400 at least.
So we are doing a lot with Amplifluence, and I wanted to bring it up. That's why I wanted you on the show, because Amplifluence and Perfect Publishing, I'm now a partner at Perfect Publishing as a Christmas gift from you.
And a Christmas gift. It would just happen to be a Christmas time that you got. I made a promise to you early in the year. I said, if the company keeps going the way it's going, you're present. And I guess you could call it at that point. But I said, if the company is where I think it's going to be at the end of the year, you're going to be an owner if you'll accept that. And he said, yeah, I will. And so it happened.
Yes. So we are doing a lot with Amplifluence, a lot with Perfect Publishing, and we are global. I mean, once you get Bernardo, he's in Spain, so we can call ourselves global now, and Anjali's in India. So I mean, we are global. And so my thought process with that is we should share what we're doing and where we're going in the world, because we, as we travel, maybe someone wants us to stop in their country or in their town, wherever. And where are we going? I know you have Antarctica on that list on for 2024, but
2025. I don't think it's 2025.
okay. And then we've got the Philippines, hopefully by the end of this year,
Taj Mahal.
and the Taj Mahal.
You know, one of the things I think we're going to do that's going to make us really successful with Amplifluence is we're going to attract roughly 300 professional photographers around the world that are going to help us when we can't get to a city. They help create the book. And that book is like an Angie's List. It's the smilers. It's the people that identify that life is measured by how many smiles you create. And I came up with this earlier with Barry Shore today, that when you give a smile, you don't know the ripple effect that smile is going to have, but technically it could go to infinity. It can never be measured because it could continue and continue and continue. And his new goal is, when I met Barry Shore 7 years ago, he said, I would like to have the Keep Smiling movement impact. I mean, they have the card, they know what it is, and they're shifting their mind from doom to doom being doomed because of a smile. And it was, are you ready for this? 10 million. And I said, how many have you done so far? And he says, 1 million. And I said, how long have you been doing it? And he says, about 15 years. I said, and when do you want this to be 10 million? He says, I'd like to be 10 million by 2020. I said, mathematically, you got a challenge here, buddy. And he says, it'll happen. Well, guess what? It's 2023. It did not happen. It's 4 million right now. But he stated on the air, a show very much like yours, he said, 1 billion. And I said, and I stopped him later in the show. I said, it's not 1 billion, Barry. You're just trying to tantalize them to have them think that you're playing small. I said, I know what your game is. And he goes, okay, what's my game, Ken? I said, your game is that when you hit 1 billion, they do it to everyone they can. And it's 2 billion. And the 2 billion does it to everyone. It's 4 billion. And the 4 billion does it to everyone they can. It's 8 billion. So in 3 moves, you've reached the entire world with a smile. And he goes, yes.
So curiosity, how many different languages do you have the words keep smiling in?
We have it in about 40, and I'll just show a couple. This is Arabic. And this is Persian or Farsi. And you know, some of these I need to practice, but we're changing these cards so that it actually says the phonetic way of saying it in that language for Americans. Because Americans, you've heard that joke have you heard that joke about languages? Okay. So someone that speaks 2 languages is bilingual, of course. Someone that speaks 3 languages is trilingual. Someone that speaks 4 languages or more is a polyglot. Someone that speaks. So what's someone that speaks 1 language?
An American.
Yeah. So it's a great one. There's German.
Do you have the Filipino one? Do you have Tagalog on?
I do. I think I just put it down somewhere, but oh yeah, here it is.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm really happy we got that one. And you know, there's a lot of people that were in the down under that didn't know what the heck we were saying with those Keep Smiling cards. So we did get that one. And we got, for the Jamaicans, we obviously got that one.
Ah, nice.
So we've got it in a lot of languages. And I think, what were you saying about, so the smile is a universal expression. And so when you smile, you don't have to ask somebody, what do you mean by this smile? I mean, if their eyes are dancing too, they're saying that they welcome you, that they love you on some level, they have an affinity to you, and that they are grateful to be in your presence on some level. So what I asked Barry today, this is brand new, fresh news, has not been out anywhere. In fact, the shows we did today were not released. They're in the can. So this is the first live aspect of it. I asked Barry, and he is receptive to this, that on this card underneath, we spell phonetically how to say it so that you get two stimulus. You get to see it, but you get to hear someone speaking your language the best they can.
So you should put the translation, I mean, the phonetic on the back of the card. So when you hold it up and hand it to someone, you can say it to them.
See, do you know why that's why you're so great? That's why you're so great. Because you'll take an idea that's really solid, good, and you'll even make it better.
Yeah.
That's partnership.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
When Barry hears that, he's going to flip. And by the way, we have the new cards so that you can actually hold your phone. So if you don't have that language, you just type the language in, and it'll show up as a full on the phone. He did them in orange, which is actually pretty interesting. He says that's how we're going to get to a billion. And I said, actually, the way you're going to get to a billion is by enrolling all these photographers and having people actually maybe even be able to put their brand on the back, et cetera. So it's pretty interesting. I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. So where else are we going to go with the Keep Smiling?
Canada. That one's soon because of BLN and CLA.
Yeah.
JR Spear and Jose Escobar are both helping us get up to the northern American area. Niagara Falls. Cuba. I want it to be this year.
That should be easy.
I think so too. Southwest flies there.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Southwest, if you're listening, we love you. We're making 50 books with you as a desired partner and someone who's praised for getting us around the U.S. mainly.
Yep, that is true. Well, we have a lot of things coming up and coming very quickly in our world with Amplifluence and Perfect Publishing. And well, we still have 4 minutes before we go to commercial, so we can still talk about other things. But I know you're coming to Colorado, but right now you're in Vegas, then you're going to California, but you're coming to Colorado for my event, my Unapologetic
Amplifluence event, and then your speaker boot camp. Yes.
Okay.
Without a camera.
Without a camera.
And big thanks again to Ann Ludington and to Robert Peterson for really making that an easy choice.
Yeah, when you've got people who can carry that load for you, so you can do all the other things that you do. That's awesome, and that's the other part of partnership. As we're building this team at Perfect Publishing, we all are going into the strengths that we have.
Well, there's three dynamics of a speaker. I mean, of a photographer. Ironically, I said speaker because I'm becoming one. So I said that word Freudian. That's weird. Okay, so if you were to hear a speaker is not a speaker. Like a speaker is not interchangeable with another speaker is another speaker. Like all speakers are not the same. Well, photographers are not all the same either. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, but when someone sees a camera, they go, "Oh, good, check. We got a photographer." But there are so many aspects to a photographer. One, are they an artist? Two, can they get money shots? Three, do they engage with the crowd that cause the crowd to show the value of being there? Four, what are they able to do with a photo that's going to cause social proof and cause more abundance in your life? For instance, what if a photographer was $200 and you got nothing but the pictures? You got 1,500 pictures. You had to go through them and you found 3 or 4 that were really good for your social media. And then you paid another photographer $4,000. I mean, dramatically more expensive. But he all of a sudden got you big sponsors, or she got you big sponsors. This is anything's possible with a photographer who has got talent. And that has been really the hardest thing for a photographer to do in this day and age. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about all photographers. It is very hard to convey what the value is of someone who has a good eye, has a great marketing mind, and is able to actually cultivate more business, because you're looking at it as an expense, not an investment. And that's the same way you should look at a speaker. If a speaker's coming to your corporate event or to any event, and they're going to revitalize people and get them excited about the esprit de corps and fighting for a mission and understanding their purpose in the company, and the company doubles, and instead of being 5 million, it's $10 million. And you had this other speaker that people were on their phones and not paying attention. I know we got to go to break, but that is the problem. People have to see what they can create by hiring the right quality people.
Okay, well, you hold that thought, because we're going to continue on with that when we come back from break. So hold on to that. We'll be right back after these commercials. And Ken, don't forget. Well, thank you for watching Mental Shift. Now, did you share this with someone you care about, someone who might possibly want to be writing a book right now and they need a publisher, or they want to be part of something bigger than themselves and they have a book? Maybe you should come on because we're talking about amplifying influence with Dr. Ken Rochon, Dr. Smiley. So, did you know TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go? So check out all the shows that you see on the screen. And now imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Continue to watch Mental Shift Tuesday nights at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time or Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. in the Philippines. You can also watch all the replays via Facebook or YouTube and follow us on Instagram. And listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search hashtag TNC now. For sponsorships, please email now@thenewchannel.com or send a direct message straight to The New Channel. Enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them for you. And welcome back. You're watching Mental Shift, and I'm Dr. Michelle Mras. And tonight I have my partner in Amplifluence, Dr. Smiley. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. And there was another thing that came out of all these shows I did today is Barry used a word that I came up with. So he has a book called The Joy of Living. And you know why he made that book? Because he thinks there's 3 joy books you should have in your library. One is The Joy of Cooking. The second one is The Joy of Sex. And the third is The Joy of Living. And he wrote the 3rd book. But it was with a subtitle that I can't remember, something about slaying stress and all that good stuff, right? So we worked on his book today, and we came up with a new title. And it reminds me of what you said about publishing just now. So the new title it's still The Joy of Living, but the subtitle is very simple. You deserve it.
Oh.
I came up with it in seconds, and he says, hello.
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 Says, yeah.
And so that's going to be the new book we're publishing. And instead of him extending his hands like this and being joy, it's a close-up picture of him just complete joy. It's just, I took the picture today of his face, and we're going with a different thing. But when I was driving back 2 hours later, because we really talked forever, I saw this beautiful sunset in
oh, I saw that. It's very pretty.
And what's cool is that when you move it, it actually changes. And so what you said sparked that conversation was you said that I'm here as a publisher. And I've gone through two phases, one before I met you, then one because I met you. And then today you evoked where the next phase is. And it's interesting. You think you're at the phase you can't get better. So the first phase was leave a legacy. We all have a book in us, leave a legacy. And that's a beautiful thing. But what is it doing for us now while we're alive? So the next one is a very important one. It hit me like so hard in my chest when I said it. It started going on all the banners, and it was, your book impacts the world. Like, make a book that impacts the world. In other words, get behind it like you would your child, and encourage your child, inspire your child. Well, have your book with you every minute of every day and create a tipping point. But what happened today was because I gave Barry the joy of living, you deserve it. He said, I'm going to talk to the biggest people I know in the world. And he knows some very, very big influencers, believe me. Jack Canfield, I mean, he has them. He has these people's phone numbers. He can call them. He's invested with them. He's done business with them. He said, I'm going to call them and say they should do a book with you because they deserve it.
That's awesome.
And it's such a big jump in a direction that people have to stop thinking about a book as a chore, or thinking about a book as something that is going to be like having a child, like it's a responsibility. No, it's something you get to give yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a great way to look at it. And he says, a book is a door opener, and it really is. And we can make so much money with that door opener, because I've had some very wise people that are extremely abundant in the world. And they said, the number one thing that you want in life, number one, all these people say, is access. And if a book is a door opener, that's called an access point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. This is really content I've never shared before, because it's so new for me to be taking this in and formulate. And this break, the Christmas break and being with my son, he taught me to do something that, if you listen to your children and you are pouring your love into them, they grow you too. And I told my son, hey, you're doing these many books. And he came up with it himself. He says, Daddy, if I do 4 more books at age 8, if I do 4 more books by my 10th birthday, I'll have 10 books for my 10th birthday. Like, he's formulating how many. So his 9th book is done. His 10th book, My Adventure to Machu Picchu, is coming out on his birthday, or actually way before his birthday, but you'll have 10 books. He caused me and inspired me to say, well, how am I going to get a book a year out? And I'm doing 12 books this year. Barry is going from 1 book almost a year, or, he doesn't always do 1 book a year. He's doing 4. He's doing all 4 with Perfect Publishing. But the reason he's doing it with me, or that he's doing 4 books, or both, is that he's seeing the power of the door opener.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So I'll see you later. It was really great being on the show. Oh, I got to do things like that.
Yes, you do. So you're in a new phase.
Oh, actually, can I show you one more thing while I'm on the hot spotlight here?
Yeah.
I have a book that I'm really excited about doing with Rich Parsons, and I'm doing a book with you called Amplifying Your Influence. But Rich Parsons' book.
Yeah, your Deck to Success.
Deck to Success. I know there's a little glare there. Sorry about that.
Yes, major glare.
Major glare, but let me see if it gets better.
So
you got to have it. Yeah, that works, but then you can't have it this close to see all the detail. I mean, look at that detail.
It was pretty.
So that is a new concept of taking a book and having 52 people in it, but creating a deck of cards. So you play the cards and you remind yourself of what you learned from the people, or what you will learn from the people, and then go back and read the chapter.
I'm writing the forward for that one.
You are. Yes, you are. In fact, you're writing forwards to, I think, a half dozen books, if I kind of have my math correct. And then Carissa today, Selena, she has her next new cover, The Weed, and she just shared it with us. I'm not going to share it because I don't have permission yet. Ooh, but it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful.
Very beautiful.
In fact, Herb did a nice half selfie because he was so impressed with The Weed. That was really amazing.
I saw that. Thank you for sharing that too. No, and there's just so much happening with the Perfect Publishing family. And well, you're coming out here for my Unapologetic Speaker Camp in January, but then we're pretty much hitting the road starting in February. I mean,
I'm not scared. In fact, I'm perky. I mean, if you think about it, this kind of conversation about all the things that we're doing, it gets you perky. I'm not going to lie.
So I wanted to let you know that we are also doing, I don't know if you've seen it for those of you who are watching me or if you're following me on social media, but my book, Ken brought us to Times Square and brought several authors and had our books displayed on Times Square. And I don't know if my back office, if you all have it, there's a couple of pictures of books on big screens. Can you share one or two? I don't
And
know if
we
you
had,
have them
we
at.
had 30 books and 15 authors. 10 of them were influencers showing on Facebook Live. It was a media outlet that you could not really pay for. And all these people learned about your book and everyone else's book because of it. It was really powerful.
Now I was wondering if they had any of the pictures off of our back office thing that I sent
Yeah.
pictures. And I'm wondering if they had any.
Well, while we're waiting for them, Barry had 3 books on the jumbotron. He said that he looked up the world record, and it's never been done that 3 books are in the same Times Square with the same author. He had Ultimate Secret Competition, he had A Pocket Full of Acronyms, and he had The Joy of Living.
Oh, you're right.
He was the only one who had 3 books.
I had 2.
Yes, and you did.
No, I beat him
Did you?
because I was on Deck of Success,
Oh, okay.
High Crown, Unapologetic.
Wait till he hears that you already broke his world record.
That's funny. I would have never thought it. So they must not have the pictures of the jumbotrons. But
I would like to portray a picture on a jumbotron. I'm going to try it my best. Okay, here we go. Did it work? No. Okay. I tried. Oh, and there is no do and try. And we talked about that today too. Is that I was giving away all these books on Business Leaders Network. JR had me on his show today, his platform conversation, and he wanted me to talk about the jumbotron. And a message to consider is how often are you given gifts, whether it be the Dose of Hope $72,000 gift certificate, or you're given just ebooks that can change your life. And people have this thing about if they see a camera in someone, that must be a photographer. But if they see this thing that looks like a book, it must be worth $20. But if that book you read causes you to be a millionaire, I would argue that book is priceless. And I was offering your book, JR's book, Barry's book, my book to this community. All they had to do was text me. And that's called taking action. So I just want to say that whenever anyone is offering you anything that connects you to growing or to them as a leader, take advantage of it. Barry was right. He guessed 2 or 3 people would do it. And it was about 2 or 3 people. It was maybe even 2. And it's something I've noticed on the stage that I'm going to figure out how people are in the seat and they're there to pay to learn to be the one on the stage, or they're there to pay to learn to be someone that changes the world, or just become a better version of them, as you put it, and why they're not hitting that text. It's a very, very big point. And I stop people and I say, if you have not texted right now, ask yourself why.
I'd say because you weren't asking for no money, no anything. Just I want to give it to you free.
Yes.
I'm not even going to spam you. Just text the number.
Yeah, and by the way, even if they did spam you, you just block it. It's only
Ken, they have the pictures.
They have it. Oh, let's show them. I don't have to be the poster child anymore.
No. So if you can just show any of them, and we'll talk about each one, and you can just kind of flip through them. I think I pulled out a few.
All right.
So the first one with the lion, that's my newest book. That's my dissertation that's coming out, Unapologetic. And then the one on the right is Power of Awakening. That is our dear friend Sally Wurst's book.
Yes, it is. One of 3, her trilogy.
Yes. Then the next one is Ken. That's Ken on the left, pointing at his books, The Smiling Movement, and Dose of Hope, and Hope is Dope.
Yes, the whole trilogy there.
Yes. And then the one right after that is Kadima. What does Kadima stand for? That's from our Marshall Dumlau.
Yeah, Marshall Dumlau. Yeah, he came up with the idea, and he said Kadima. He says, Ken, do you know what that is? And I said, I don't know what that means. He says it's Hebrew for move forward. Keep moving forward. And I said, I guess you have to get your book done in a month. And he says, I guess I do. And he did. He He got his book completely written. I love the cover. Carolyn on our team just does such exceptional work with covers, and he fell in love with it, and it helped inspire him to complete the book just at a beautiful level. That is a book I highly recommend people read about moving forward, taking action.
Okay, what's the next one? Do you have more? More pictures? The Ultimate Speaker. This is where Ken and I met. But the Ultimate Speaker, Unleash Your Superpower. Christoph Wyman.
Yes, and I see your name underneath it.
Forward by Dr. Michelle. Oh, yep, there. Yep. That's the third one.
Yeah, it's a great experience. And what I love is that, oh my gosh, my son's book is there. I have to show him the show because he's seen it, but that was really amazing. And by the way, this is his 9th book, and it says Kenny's favorite phobias to conquer. And to have to have a 9-year-old actually talk about overcoming their fear of failure as the first part of the journey, and then his fear of success, which so many people are afraid to be successful too. So he tackles some very big fears.
Oh, that's so sweet. But yes, I had to put that one in there. Is there any more?
I think that's
it. That's a good one to finish on.
Oh wow, Bernardo
Moya.
Flipping, he was just on your show last week, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And he has an event, Be the Best You Expo on March 2nd through the 5th in Los Angeles.
Oh, he needs to invite me. I need to write him.
Yes, and he has 130 speakers, and I believe he needs some more speakers. So you'd be a wonderful person to talk to. Oh, look at that. Rich Parsons.
Yes, it is. Forward by Dr. Michelle Mras.
Yes, and I called him and I said, hey, Rich, you don't have to say yes to this, but I'm picking 12 people to do a book with this year. And I love the fact that this is a playing card deck, and I would love to do this book with you, especially since I helped create the concept of it. And he says, yeah, I'd love to have you as part of it. So we're dual authors on this project.
Cool. Any more? Let's see what else.
It's like trick or treat. Oh my gosh, Barry's going to flip. And this book, he wants to get this out to millions of people too. And he has all these great acronyms in them. I'll give 2 that he uses all the time. Well, okay. He says, go get mad, go make a difference. So, and then the other one he says is, I want to give you a big hug. And hug is heartfelt, unlimited gifts.
Yes.
And
he says, good looking people.
Yes.
You're a good looking person.
Yes, because you're always looking for good. And then he has in there, I did smiles and he is smile, and we actually picked the same acronym, and I did not know we did until today. So his is seeing miracles in life every day, and mine is seeing miracles in life every second. So he's a little slower. I mean, he needs the whole day to finally see that miracle come in.
So we highlighted a few of the books. I mean, there were a lot of us there at times.
30 books.
Mm-hmm. So there was a lot, but I wanted to highlight a few that I knew directly and that definitely wanted some of our pals in there. I could not find one for Carissa. Yeah, I couldn't. Apparently, I was talking to her when her book was up, and I never got a picture of it.
So Carissa Salinas' book, since it didn't go up on the Jumbotron for the show, it obviously got tons of pictures that we can attach to this show. But I remember us witnessing at the airport, because our plane was delayed, someone reading it to the entire group of people waiting to get on the plane, and then buying copies for every single person that wanted one. And she sold like 30 copies.
Our flight was delayed, and some man took her book, read it out loud, she sold her books, and they were sending pictures of them. People who had bought the book, sending pictures of them holding the book or in the book in their house or things like that, and sending them to her and posting them on Instagram. It was amazing.
Yes, and she was in fear of, will I have enough books? Because they're all selling out so quickly. The other person I want to bring up, which is my favorite shot of the entire experience, is Dave Chemetsky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's in New York, and he's helping us organize the New York experience. Jose Escobar, his book came up, and then the person whose book came out last, and most people had left, was the lovely, sweet J.R. Spear. And we walked back, JR and Jose and I, and that's how I got in trouble with hearing about the 75 hard and then creating the 100 limitless, which is 100 minutes of exercise a day. And I can't tell you how excited I am that I am putting myself through.
And I think it's not a big deal because I do far more than that.
I know, but see, you're a superwoman, and I will never be superwoman.
Because I think I do a minimum of 120 minutes.
Well, Barry told me I should get a snorkel, and then an hour will breeze by. In fact, he does an hour and 20 minutes with snorkel. He says it'll expand my lungs, it'll be better cardio, and he says the time just goes by because you're never lifting, you're just swimming and swimming and swimming.
Yep, my husband's a huge swimmer. That's what he does every day while I'm up doing weights. But yeah, it's the thing is can you please explain what 100 hard is?
Yes, it's not too hard to explain it. It's as simple as pie. It's 100 minutes. It's 100 days of doing 100 minutes of exercise and no alcohol. Read 10 minutes of a nonfiction book and a gallon of water and pure diet, as pure as possible. No meat is what I've elected to add to it, a vegan approach. And minimal processed foods, no desserts, no sugars, no candy, no junk. I think I got it all.
Yeah. So Ken is on day what of this?
I'm on day 20 as of today. I have not done my workout in yet. And I started on the 21st of December. Felt a couple of days were too many days of enjoying drinks with friends and family. So I restarted on January 1st, and I'm on day 10 again. So.
Okay. Well, we're still very proud of you because we already see a difference in you and your everything about what you're doing. Right now, your eyes look kind of sleepy. I think
yeah, I will sleep well tonight. I will sleep well tonight.
Okay. But there's something coming up in Times Square, April 25th through 28th. And if you're interested, if you want to know more about it, you can write it in the chat or you can write me directly and say, hey, I want to know more. I'm in Times Square. I'm in New York. I'm close to it. I can get there because we are doing another Jumbotron experience. We are taking names basically are what we're doing right now.
Oh, and we're doing only 100 authors. It's going to be a coffee table book. And if you are not in the area of good old Las Vegas, New York Times Square. I'm tired. Okay. You need to consider that this is worth coming out to because most of the people traveled to this experience. And when I say that we are doing this amazing book,
oh yeah, I could have shared that, I think.
Yes, you could have. But I want to say that there are people that were at that event that did not have a book when they first saw the opportunity. Mm-hmm. This is something I wish I had had as an opportunity for my first book. That's 39 books ago. I would have been a different author. I would have had a different community. I certainly would have had a different impact. I sold 11 books with my first book. It was quite underwhelming.
Oh, I'm trying to find the poster so that maybe they can share it.
Okay, well, while you're looking for the poster, this is a community of authors that play really big. And if you have ever needed an excuse to write a book, this is probably a $10,000 to potentially a $30,000 publicity piece on your book that would cost you just pennies on the dollar. It's a very inexpensive way. But did you make friends at that event? And not just a friendship, but we are doing a full all-out VIP experience where each night you see the people's book go up and see them get absolutely excited and elated that they see their book in the big screen. But the next day we go to the Statue of Liberty and you get to hold your book on the Statue of Liberty, the symbol of freedom. And then we go to Ellis Island to see where all the people that came to the United States came in to be processed and become a citizen. And then Central Park, that was a blast, such a blast. Then that evening we do a nice dinner for the VIPs and a cocktail and then go see the flips again. But the next day I'm the most excited about going to Ground Zero and having 100 people hold hands in prayer and just give thanks that we've received some type of enlightenment that we are the one that should be writing and inspiring and causing people to be the best you they can be.
And what is Ground Zero?
Ground Zero is where the towers used to be before 9/11.
Okay, that's why I wanted to make sure that people knew what that was.
Yeah, it's a magical experience there, and I wouldn't have thought that it would with the emptiness of it, but it has quite the effect of being there and all the people that lost their lives and gave their lives
Yes. So what we've done is Ken is very notorious for carrying everyone's books with him. And that's our poster for the 100 authors, 100 books Times Square. We are adding to it. So he is always carrying everyone's book, at least digitally. And with this 100 author, 100 book Times Square, we are adding to it so that even non-perfect publishing authors can come with us. Why? Because we like to amplify the influence of everyone. And when we come together as authors and speakers and just influencers, we expand our network. So let's say you're an author and you're in another publishing company. That's okay. Come. We embrace you like family, and you become part of our tribe of traveling. And you go to this Jumbotron with us, and we celebrate your wins together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's such a good point, is that we want publishers to be allies, to be collaborators with us. We want to have a new way of people looking at books being published, is that they're a documentary ready to be made, a movie deserving of all the marketing companies and publishing companies and collaboration of whatever it takes to impact the world with that book.
That's awesome. Thanks for putting that poster up. I just wanted them to see all the books, because Ken carries a banner and he changes the banner as more books come along, and he carries a banner with every book published. He's going to need 20 banners eventually. I don't know how he's going to keep doing
I know
it.
how we're doing it.
What?
Well, because we're doing the Amplifluence books in all the cities, we're going to have banners that reflect the authors of that city. That's going to be probably, and then we're going to have the one that's relevant to which books are coming out within the 3-month period. So it'll be fine.
Good. So we only have a couple of minutes left together. And what I wanted to ask you is, what kind of words of wisdom do you want to share, or what do you want to share for what's coming up in the year to come? Because the future is bright. We've got to wear shades, right?
We do. So for those of you who are a father or a mom listening, the best gift you can give your child is an opportunity to write their story or to publish their book. My son was an absolute introvert. He'll kick my butt if he sees this, because he's mad that I shared a piano recital because he made some mistakes. And so he's very critical. But my son moved from being an introvert, did not want his voice recorded or video, anything. And now he's somewhat of a ham, and he tells jokes, and he's very witty, and he's a writer now. He looks forward to actually writing, and he's sending me messages right now in French, Spanish, and English, because his confidence has risen so much. So he says, "Good night, Daddy. I miss you. I can't wait to see you." And he says it in Spanish, and he says it in French now. So he does 3 separate videos. The other thing is, if you have someone that you love and they have great stories, capture them. There's going to be a day when they're not around, and you will say, "I regret the fact I didn't have them download." My mom never downloaded her stories, and some very other special grandparents and uncles did not either. And I would have read them, I would have cherished them, and I would have learned from them. But you do not know somebody until they actually download their heart and their mind into a book. I assure you, you just think you know them.
And that's how I started my journey. Is I tried to capture my mother-in-law, because she passed away before she was able to write her book. And so I did it for her from my point of view, because we never got the stories out of her. So yes, if you love someone, capture their stories. And we know you love somebody, so go do it. And I'd like to thank you, Ken, for joining me on Mental Shift and for sharing your heart and the future of Amplifluence and what we're doing together, and how perfect publishing is. I'm
That
getting
was
dizzy.
awesome. I was getting confused. I got cross-eyed there for a second.
I'm getting dizzy. And I thank you for joining me and taking some time out of your day. And I know this was workout time for you, so even more so, thank you for joining me on Mental Shift. And for those of you out there, go be the best version of you. Be unapologetic, or as Ken would say,
keep smiling. And I want to thank you for always amplifying goodness.
Take care, everybody. See you next week. Be well. Remember, stay amplified, and magbatuloy sa pagnigit. I can't say it.
You're doing good. You did better than I did. But we're going to have the pronunciation here in the back. I love that idea. Phenomenal.
Thank you. So everyone, be well. We'll see you next week. And until next time, go be the best version of you, and go find some shows on TNC that click with you. And if you want your own show, reach out. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.